The Israelite Nation, Worldwide Ministries.
You could cook the food. We've given you the instructions on how to do it, what to cook, what to eat, what not to eat. You see? So just because you put it into your mouth doesn't mean it's food. You do that with poison too. I heard. I don't know.
And so pretty much just as has been seen in the Bible before and even now, it's this knowledge, this truth, it's open to anybody. It's open to anybody that is going to listen with the ears to hear and, look at it with the eyes to see, and coming from, like you said, that place of respect to understand the hierarchy of things, the order of things, and coming just for the truth and nothing else. And so it's open to anybody that kind of meets that criteria.
It is open. And that raises another point. The reason why racism came about I think it was about the 15th century, it happened in Iberia, which is Spain and Portugal, and they had a mixed cultures there. They had the Israelite culture, they had the Muslim culture, Islamic, and they had the Christian culture. Now, naturally, the Israelites would be the people that look like me and you. The Muslims, some of them just look like us too. And then the Christians were the ones that were, people would say that they're the white people. And the Israelites excelled everybody. They were the fewest, but they excelled. They had the best knowledge because they had the book, Some people got upset. The Christians primarily got upset about the progress of the Israelites and the Muslims. And that's how they started this process. They started a process called the Inquisition. And they went through a process of trying to determine who was who, because we intermarried. You know how that goes, right? And as you intermarry, then people get a little bit lighter or darker, and you don't know who's who anymore. And because they are more numerous, you have to start, who is drinking wine every Sunday and who's not? Who are you praying to? So all of that's part of the Inquisition. And it was a very, very vicious quest. Not based on truth, but based on power, our desire for power. So the Israelites and some of the Muslims suffered terribly at the hands of Christianity back in that period of time. And one of the stipulations of Christianity, going back to the days of the Inquisition, was that only the white race could be Christians, and the black race could not be Christians. So, which is good. I like that, actually. Whatever that means, I kind of like it. So thereby you had the introduction of the white race, the black race, and God knows how many other races they came up with over time. It is saying that only a white man, so-called, could be a Christian, which is fine. But I guess the black people didn't like that, and they messed up the whole thing. So Christianity then had to introduce what is now called racism to maintain that structure. So when the KKK comes out, they don't come out and burn a cross on your front lawn because you're staying in your lane. They do that because you are doing things that belong to them. You are serving a white Jesus, who is not the Jesus of the Bible, and you shouldn't be. So really the KKK, in many respects, are doing us a favor. They say, get back into your lane. Leave the Christian shrine alone. But most black people took that as an offense, when it is not. See? And this is an issue that needs to be dealt with by the children of slavery. If you want to progress, leave Christianity alone. The Hebrew Israelites should leave Judaism alone. It has nothing to do with us. Until they come to that understanding, there will always be confusion. And you can call it racism. You can call it whatever you want. Stay in your lane. Now, having said that, I will say to the people that practice Christianity and Judaism, leave our Holy Bible alone. And If we can get people to stay in their spiritual lanes, then I think we can have a wonderful world. If that's what they want. I believe that the God of Israel wants us to come together on his terms. And I know that's going to take some time. And if the populations are so inclined, we are the first to come out and say, we are ready to teach whoever wants to listen and learn.
And essentially that would clear up the mystery.
It clears a lot. Because, again, I said, a lot of people are suffering from schizophrenia. They're suffering from mental diseases. They have bipolar disorder. They have all kind of neurotic diseases because they want to be you and me, and they cannot attain. You know, a lot of people want to go to heaven, but Jacob's ladder is not for human beings to climb up to heaven. Jacob's ladder, notice it's Jacob. That's my forefather, your forefather. It wasn't a physical ladder. It was just an expression to show the communication between heaven and earth by way of the Israelite nation. You see? And Jacob was called the Prince of God. And he was renamed Israel. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I won't get into it this time. So if you want to have access to heaven, not physical access, but to communicate with the God of Israel, you have to get to know the teaching of an Israelite. If, I'll give you an example. And to show you how the Gentiles that invented Judaism couldn't get it right. They built a 9-branch candlestick when Moses said 7, because God told Moses 7. And there's a lot of significance there. But why is it that they can't tell the difference between 7 and 9, and they want to teach from the Bible? But nobody called them out on it. Their Christian brothers didn't call them on it. Maybe they can't tell the difference either. And I'm not trying to say that they're wrong. All I'm trying to say is, don't use my book if you're going to do that. Then you're wrong. You can build whatever you want to build. That's on you. If you want to do whatever you want to do. Different philosophy. But please do not use my book and claim you're taking it from my scriptures. That's all.
Like you said, it needs to be clear and understood and respected that it's an Israelite book by Israelites, for Israelites, about Israelites. And that's the only way you can learn it from an Israelite.
That's the only way that you're going to truthfully learn. Anything else is fake. Anything else would be a lie. And if they were to come to grips with this reality, with this truth, that basic one that you just said, about Israelites, for Israelites, by Israelites, I think the world right there would take a jump 33% higher than it is today. Just right there with that information. 33% by just coming to a perspective of truth with regards to the Holy Scriptures. Until that is understood, total foolishness, stupidity, ignorance of the highest level will continue to be masqueraded throughout the earth. And that's all that we're asking. We're not asking people to give up the $3 or trillion that they have earned. It would be nice to get some of it, but we're not asking for them to do that. We're not asking them to I don't know what benefits they get from lying. All we are saying, if you want to continue lying, please knock yourself out. But do not use our scriptures when you're doing that. Do not try to teach from our book, please. Leave our culture alone, please. Leave our heritage, our biblical heritage alone, please. If you're a Teutonic descendant, yes, you've got all those European nations. You've got Germany. You've got Russia. You've got Britain. You have the Vatican. There's more demons there than we can count. Have all of that at your disposal. It's okay. Disposal. You don't have to pick on one little, well, it's not little, but you know what I'm saying. One little people. if you will, that serve the God of Israel. If you want to, they have this, what they call the Saturn cube. I don't know if you heard of it. Mm-mm. It's a cube. It's everywhere. I just noticed it on Amazon. Actually, I was very impressed. I never noticed it before. You see it on Apple. You see it on Microsoft. You see it on the CBC. And all the major corporations, they benefit from that Saturn cube. Saturn Day, right? And Saturn is just another name for Satan, which is okay. I don't have a problem with that. Again, you have to deal with what you're given. And we have been, Abraham's seed has been established with us, so we have no choice but to serve the true and living God. That's what an Israelite is all about. But if you are of the serpent seed, the whole world is at your disposal, right? We happen to be in the world, but not of the world. So we have to be very, very selective, very careful how we conduct ourselves. This is what sets us apart. We're not telling them not to do what they do best. If you lie and cheat and it's profitable, great. We can't do that and get away with it. Just the other day I saw on television, there was this guy and, he was walking down the street. I forgot what Midwest state that was in. And he had a gun, big gun, not a little, something like that. And there was 4 police cars or 6. He was walking towards them. They drove away from him. Can you imagine that with a black man, a child of slavery?
Definitely not.
He's walking towards them, hands up, this machine gun. Young guy. They drove around him. They wanted nothing to do with him. They probably gave him coffee and donuts. Right? Your brothers walking down the street, because I think you have brothers about that age, they wouldn't be able to take 2 steps. So when you see something like that, yes, one was a so-called white boy, and it's the so-called black man that is being shot. When you see stuff like that, you can see with your own eyes that there are 2 standards. One for the Abraham seed and another for the serpent seed. Because why is the police officer's behavior unique, different, when it deals with different people? This is all we're saying. And I'm not saying that they should put down their weapons. No. I'm not saying to defund the police or anything like that. Right? This is why we put a lot of emphasis on Remember the 400. Because there are 2 great organizations. There's Black Lives Matters and there's Remember the 400. But if you remember the 400, you don't need Black Lives Matters. Because you can look in the mirror and see what transpired, how you got to be where you are, what is your true identity, and you can adjust accordingly. You don't need someone to tell you that your skin matters. The Israelite is what matters, because only the Israelite can make a difference on this earth.
So really, it's really wrapping up everything we said at the very beginning of this podcast, is that there's a spiritual problem that requires a spiritual solution, and it's not necessarily about skin color or anything else for that matter. It's about the spirit. It's about the truth. It's about the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And that's what we're here to teach, and that's what we're here to spread, and that's the only way you can accept and get that information and that knowledge. Exactly.
It's not about skin color. It's not about texture of hair. Well, okay, I don't have any. I have a little. Anyway, it's about spiritual alignment. Because as I said at the beginning, not all spirits are acceptable. If we have been chosen, which we have, we've been chosen by a particular spirit to do a particular job, to witness for our Father. When I was growing up, and, I don't want to give my, 75-year-old age or anything like that, but when I was growing up, children didn't matter to the sense that everybody does today. It's the parents that mattered. And that was instilled in us because you on the street as a child, whether you're 7 or 17, reflected the teaching of your parents. And you had to govern yourself accordingly. And the neighborhoods were so intertwined that if you misbehave, even though we didn't have cell phones back then, your parents knew before you got home. You know how she knew? Oh, well, I'm not going to say how she knew. You know how you know she knew, or your mom especially? Because you felt it upside your head with the backhand before you got through the door. Because we were taught that the way we conducted ourselves, our affairs, is a reflection of our parents and how they brought us up, their teaching, their instructions, etc. So we had a concept in our minds that the way we carried ourselves is not just for our own selfish purposes, meaning not just for self. It's also for the parent. It's also for the family, because we probably had older brothers and sisters. So we bonded together as one from the parent to exhibit that behavior. It's the same with the Israelite and the God of Israel. We exhibit a special leadership quality that nobody else on this earth could attain unless they come and be one with us. Mm-hmm. And this is what it's all about, knowing your Father. Our Father is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He created the heavens and the earth. He chose us to be his witnesses unto his word, which is the truth. No one can take that away from us. Even if they misuse the Bible, they still can't touch that. And that is what gives us strength and confidence. So when I see other people talking foolishness, wearing a cube on their head or on their forehead, or putting a cross on their chest, I just turn my back and walk the other way. You see? Because I know who they really are. They're telling me that they're of the serpent seed, and I want nothing to do with them. Nothing. And this is what it comes down to. I will not follow them. But unfortunately, it is sad to say that we have children of slavery who choose to follow. And when they pay the price, who are they going to blame? Are you going to blame the white man because you did what your father said you shouldn't have done? And that's where we stand up and say, who are you aligned with? What spirit are you aligned with? And if you are aligned with the wrong spirit, all that we could do is tell you, don't do that anymore. You're on the wrong side of the fence. We're not going to stand with them and put down other nations or other cultures or other people. We will tell them that what they're doing as the descendants of slaves is wrong. That we have a better way. And we will try our best to show them what that way entails.
And I think that's a great summary of everything we've touched on today. Like you said, the Bible is a spiritual book. It's from a father to his child, a father to his people. And so the only way to understand that book, to understand that people, and especially that father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, is to go through those people, to go through his people. And so, of course, this is a very, very rich and detailed topic that we could probably go on for very long about. But I think this was just a great continuation of what you already brought up last week, and a great discussion for people to get into and ask themselves these questions, a lot of the questions that you brought up today, because it will show you, like you said, where you want to be aligned with. It will show you what is the truth. It will show you in our history how we've gotten to this point and what we can do, like you said, the spiritual solution to the problems that we currently face. So on behalf of myself and all of the viewers, I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. We really appreciate having you here today, and I'm sure that they're going to want you back again to continue this conversation.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you. If you like what you saw today, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more content.